hello to Events Demystified, brought to you by Trifan Events. And I'm your host, Anka. Today, we will discuss all things promotional and branding that event organizer can use to provide ROI to sponsors, engage and delight their online audiences, and market their event either virtually or in person. And for this, I have with me on the show today, Swire from Garuda Promo, a branding solution company that serves companies large and small with fun, out-of-the-box promotional items. He is a proud Chinese American who speaks Cantonese, Mandarin, and English. His background is that of a sound engineer that worked at recording studios and entertainment agencies before starting his own firm, Hellman Production, in 2003 in LA, for which he earned a SCORE Award for Small Business Success back in 2009. His business eventually grew so popular, and so he decided to sell Hellman Production in 2013 to focus exclusively on the promotional product industry. A few fun facts about Swire. He is a proud SFG1 certified kettlebell instructor and the host of a podcast of his own called The Small Business Show, and now a featured guest on this podcast. And without further ado, let's bring Swire in to the podcast. Welcome to the show, Swire.
Anka, thank you for having me on your show.
You are welcome. I am excited about our conversation, all things marketing and promotion and branding. But before we dive into the meat of the conversation, let's give our audience, in your own words, some background on you and what you do. I personally love the fact that you're a sound engineer yourself, and being a sound engineer and having worked many events in LA myself, I feel like we just form a special connection. And, sound peeps must stick with each other. So what made you change from event productions to event marketing?
I think it also goes back to our time in Hellman Production. So we're in LA. So when we do CD and DVD replication, so naturally, a lot of our clients are musicians, film companies, or event production. So along the way, they ask us if we do promotional products so they can go on tour to sell us as merchandise. Or when they have premiere, when people walk the red carpet, they can give them something to take away. That's how we kind of got into promotional product. So when we decided to sell the company, this is the model that we like. We think that there are always going to be people who like to the name on the product and they like to give away or they like to market themselves. That's how we got in and stay in the promotional product business.
And I guess that's when you realized that you were working so hard as a sound engineer that it was time to maybe change your career and work hard doing something else.
I didn't think of it, but then, as you know, when we have the podcast, and especially with the pandemic just hit, our skills actually came back. People are figuring out how to get good sound in a Zoom meeting. Like we jump on it. I'm sure that you and I jump on it right away. We know what equipment we're going to need. We need a camera, good lighting. So this, I think, comes a little bit more natural to us. And I think that makes a big difference, especially now I can go toe-to-toe with my bigger competitor. I can look and sound better than they are.
That's very true. Now, here's something that I like to discuss with you, and it's based on something you brought up not too long ago. I think it was back in January, we had that Bernie meme and how it started, and the whole, social media went crazy over that. And it was all called what? The Bernie Meetings meme. And that pretty much stole the show back then. So here's a question I have for you. Would you give our audience some background on those meetings and also the kind of lessons that nonprofits could learn from said virtual viral meetings?
Yeah, I actually want to give you the backstory. So obviously we know what the memes are, and Bernie's play along, right? And he runs a good PR campaign with that, memes that people talk about him. He didn't get mad, right? He actually embraced the meme and be popular. But the backstory was Jen Ellis, Vermont school teacher, who actually created the original mittens for Bernie's. She actually have 2 more of those mittens, and she actually put them on eBay for sale to benefit a local nonprofit. The mittens actually got thousands of dollars for sale about and what the story meant to a nonprofit or people trying to fundraise is think about the trend that we're in. I call it the term trend jacking. So that this trend is going up in your favor. Are you able to use the available resources that you have to take advantage and in return to benefit your organization that you're trying to fundraise for? And I think big kudos to Jen Ellis by recognizing the trend and jumping on it.
Absolutely. I didn't even realize that there was a story behind the meeting and how she definitely took that opportunity to help and turn that into something that was so helpful to different organizations that she was working with. I think it was a local animal shelter and a teen organization. And that's fantastic. I feel like a lot of nonprofits that are trying to figure out and reinvent ways to fundraise virtually, they can certainly take a lesson from the Bernie meetings meme for sure. Now, with all the 2020 events that basically have had to happen virtually, I worked on a few of those myself, and I felt like there were still opportunities for brands to promote, their sponsors and market through different ways, like virtual event landing pages, live streaming branding, products that they could send to the audience. What I'm really interested in hearing from you is the strategy involved in mailing custom branded gift sets to maybe speakers or registered attendees, and how can a nonprofit take advantage of this option?
Right, Anka, in your event professional, so probably when you help virtual events, and we do notice that in our point of view that now you don't focusing on only your physical area. Maybe people traditionally have to be maybe 50 miles around where you are to attend your event. With virtual events, you can actually open up to the entire country, or if you message you can actually go global. So that opens up a lot more opportunity. There might be a lot more support that you can ever dream of outside of where you actually located. And how what we call a dropship kit will be helpful is knowing who your audience are. I always suggest event organizer and also nonprofits who think about the events is who will be attending the events. When you're trying to fundraise, for example, you can't just fundraise to everyone. You got to be focused. And in marketing, we always talk about who the ideal persona will be. The more that you can know about the ideal persona of the biggest donor, right, to your organization, who are they? What's the demographics? Is there a gender? Is there age? Or is there an interest that they really like to do? So the more that you can tell a promotional product company like us, then the more that we can help you. Imagine your biggest donor and you tell me all the persona that they have. We find the perfect gifts that they will like and respond to. And then we actually ship the kit directly to them with your message that you wanted to cater to them. They'll be so happy to receive it because people are looking for something that personalized, that is for them. And if you send me, it doesn't have to be expensive, but then you better know and ready to connect with them. For me, if I receive something that really meant for me, I post it on all my social media. I tell my friends, I tell my wife, and I show everyone that I know about the gift that I received. And the ultimate goal for sending a dropship kits to your target audience is for them to do that on behalf of you. So before you have the event, you already have a lot of buzz on social media in digital marketing, or you might have additional donors that they invite their friends or colleagues to join your event. So this is something that we are start to seeing more, combining a dropship kit into a virtual event.
And are those dropship kits kind of similar to like swag bags that you would get when you're, going to an in-person conference or trade show? What would an organizer include in some of those kits? And what is your best advice for selecting the right kind of promotional materials, especially for something that's an attendee that's going to join a virtual or a hybrid event?
Well, when people think of industry, promotional product business, they use the word swag. Swags actually tend for stuff we all get. From my point of view, if you're doing an event, then again, you don't target for everyone. It's not something that everyone will get. So if you're trying to be exclusive, trying to be personalized, only the people who you identify, the potential donor or people you want to connect, should have the gift. So if you think about something that we want to do exclusively, people are willing to spend more, people are willing to do more things just to be exclusive. So because of that's why we have award gala. People dress very nice, tuxedo, right? They wear carpet. They want to be seen. They want to be known that I have donated my hard-earned money to the cause. Same situation happens to the product that we send them. You don't want to have your product to be available for a lot of people. You want to be exclusive, and you want to be really targeted and ask yourself, if I can clone my top 10 donors, if you're a nonprofit, how would that affect my bottom line for the funding that I have? If your answer is yes, think about how you can double or clone your top 10. So these are the product that maybe the interest, maybe their behavior that makes them relevant and donate the money that they donate to you and profit. There got to be some other people that are similar to those people. So how do you find them? So by running them, by knowing who they are, and by connect and give the right message to them. And there are different strategies that we can help our client to achieve those goals.
Before we move any further, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our main sponsor, Trifan Events, which is a boutique event planning and production agency that will come alongside you, offering personalized event planning and technical support, strategic event design, production and technology management, and flawless execution for live, virtual, and hybrid events. The team at Trifan Events is passionate about planning and producing event experiences that get people involved with true moments of interaction, engagement, and co-creation, while offering white glove treatment throughout the entire planning process, enabling you to reach your event goals with the use of creativity, production tools, and event technology. To find out how Trifan Events can plan and produce your event become memorable, go to trifanevents.com. Well, I'd love to hear more about those strategies just so that our listeners kind of grasp what to expect. If you would like to disclose some of that would be fantastic.
For example, one thing that you wanted to bring out and people like to participate, even you have like a $5 gift to give out, is to create a challenge. People love challenges. And then another way is they create a different hashtag for your challenges, so people can participate. They will donate the money on behalf of you. Think about like you are running a marathon to benefit a nonprofit that you choose, right? So you're running, and then you're actually asking people to donate to your cause. You're running this marathon so something similar along. Create a sense of challenge. Something that you have to do. Maybe a milestone that you have to do. Maybe you're doing sustainability type of event. So how you can save the environment by showing them you can align to your message. There are products that you could provide them. On the running, it will be a t-shirt. On the sustainability, maybe something that goes along with the message of your nonprofit. So this don't have to be expensive, but then it tie into your nonprofit's message. And then there are different ways that you can play it up and let your follower actually to be your mini ambassador to promote on behalf of your nonprofits.
In my professional event life, I've attended a lot of industry-related trade shows. Some of my favorite ones, unfortunately, didn't happen last year, NAM, LDI, CES. And I would go to those shows, and if I walked away with about 10 t-shirts, I was so happy. Even though most of them, they would not fit me. Like, it would be like, oh yeah, this is either PJ or it's a gift for my husband because they're too big. They're men's sizes. Nowadays, actually, a lot of brands started realizing there's a lot of more women in the production world. So they started creating the women cut, the smaller sizes. And I'm like, yeah, I just scored a really cool, t-shirt that actually fits me. So I guess going back to, the swag and the promotional stuff that you could use for your event, that could be very much thematic and in line with your message. What is some of the coolest things that you've seen clients, organizers, nonprofits choose or pick from whatever collection of items that there are to pick from?
Yeah, I think we got to keep in mind too, if we're putting an event, right? Putting an event for your organization, you're putting an event so that your supporter can have fun and they can listen to your messages. But again, we've been stuck at home almost in a year right now. People still love to have fun, bring some fun into them. So one of the fun kits that we do is, when they have their corporate or annual gala, people still want to have those wine, right? Remember those? People kind of listen up and they try to engage the conversation more. So we actually have done, when when they send out the kits, they send out ready drink mix and actually cups to all the attendees, and they actually hire a professional bartender. So during the Zoom meeting, which they had it on, they actually have the bartender when they go on like a 15-minute break. The bartender, now everyone open the kits, they have all the drink mix ready. So they taught them how to fix their own drink, and then they all have fun. They drink. They have little breakout sessions.
10 a.m. in the morning.
Well, no. Fortunately, that's not a day meeting. It's something that happened at night. So it kind of have people loosen up, right? People like to have fun and let them have the fun that they want.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen some of those breaks during events that I've worked on and events I've attended as well. And let me tell you, there is a thing as a mimosa break. Now, going back to the drop shipping of those custom kits, how does that process look like? And what are some of the items that organizers, nonprofits should maybe stay away from when it comes to including those items into their kits?
Well, I think I'm the type of person who likes to ask questions. So the first question, if a client approached me and say, we want to do some dropship kits, we have this virtual event, I'll ask them, who are your target audience? Tell me more about who they are. What do they like? What demographics are they in? Always the same question, trying to get who the ideal client will be. And then depending on who they are, then we find something relevant. Are they millennial, or are they outdoor people, or are they people who like to go to the gym? So then we create something that relevant to them. And again, I mix in the fun into the packages, and then we fine tune the list. The idea that I always trying to guide them is focus your list. Only target to people that you think will respond to your messages. It's okay to try to grow your audience, but then obviously you have to take care of your core audience group, which you should focus more your attention on and cater to them. And the more personalized that you can do on your gift, the better people are going to respond. For example, if you go to a trade show, now the exhibitor gives you a name, they print your name on the t-shirt. How likely are you going to wear that t-shirt than if they give you just a generic t-shirt? So think about how you can ask for help to personalize. You can do laser engraving. We can do variable data that print your name on it. Even on the invitation, if the invitation has your name on it, the chances of you reading that invitation will be better than if it's just you see as a generic message. So I think personalized is very important. And you think about the audience first. We call this an audience first approach. And then, put in some fun onto it and think about what people wanted to receive and not what you want to give it to the people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And from what I could remember from what we were talking in the beginning is you guys do all the printing in LA, correct? Is local to the LA area? What's the turnaround like for some of those custom kits that are personalized?
Well, it depends. We usually ask if you're doing a kit, allocate more time, because obviously after we finish the promotional product, we still have to assemble them into the kit. And then, depending on how you're mailing it, if it's the postal services, budget anywhere from a week to 2 weeks. And sometimes we mail kits overseas too. So we like to have more time if you're doing a custom mailing kits project.
Mm-hmm. Since we're both, hosting podcasts, I am curious, do you use some of those strategies for your podcast? Like, do you send some promotional material out to your guests, or do you have a strategy around that so you can, combine both your podcast, your audience, and what you do for a living?
I like networking. I'm a networking person. And obviously, we run a podcast with not too many budgets. So at some point, I think is a great way to network. And I always think about we benefit as a podcast host to have better guests, right? So how could we have those guests on our show? What could we offer them that they don't already have, that will make them come onto your show? A great strategy that I actually learned from the Tim Ferriss podcast was originally when he wanted to book better guests and he have able to reach to, he used a mic. He used the audio technical mic that he sent to you, because most people don't care about audios. Like I know you and I will care so much. Well, the one that he used is $100. So for the type of guest that he is thinking about having on, I think he is willing to have that $100 if he can book a CEO or top professional in that industry. So think about, if let's say you're a nonprofit, having a podcast, if you're able to connect with the right, let's say celebrity or industry leader to come on to and to speak on behalf of your program. Maybe they open a keynote for your virtual event for your nonprofit. By sending them $100 mic, I think it's money well spent. So,
Yeah.
and along with the promotional material that you're going to them. So you're actually giving them a wow effect. I bet you anything right now that people won't invite a guest by sending them a mic. This is a unique, something that they normally wouldn't have. And then if you're trying to invest and have them go to your meeting, make them look proud, make them sound right, make them look good. Because still to this day, if you go on a Zoom meeting, even if it's a high level speaker, sometimes their mic setup and their camera setup might not be ideal for the event.
Absolutely. That's actually something that I do a lot as part of my production services that I offer, where I walk the speakers before we even go live with them through certain checklists to make sure, like you said, when they show up on camera and they're live, they look their best and they sound their best and their lighting is right. And even the location that they're coming from live is neat and looks professional and organized, right? You don't want to put yourself out there and become an obstacle to your message or to whatever it is that you need to deliver. I like that idea. Now, will I send a microphone? I don't know. But you're right. Depending what you're going after and the type of guest that you're hoping to get. We were just talking before we started the podcast how, being a podcaster, it takes a lot of discipline, diligence, and it takes time. You don't just put episodes out there without investing time. And unfortunately, when you also run a business, that can be time spent away from your business and your other responsibilities. And I need this much to bring in with my podcast in order to be able to pay someone at this point to edit some of the episodes. Because otherwise I spend 6-8 hours every week editing, and that's time away from either my business or my family. There's a sacrifice. And am I willing to pay that long term? There has to be a better way. That's certainly a discussion for another time, but it was just something that we touched on earlier in our conversation. And it's good to always be able to see what other podcasters and business owners are doing. And I love that we have that connection. And so I can learn a few tips from you for sure, especially when it comes to marketing, because that's definitely not my strongest suit, but I'm always learning. Now, let me ask you something. This goes back to your fun facts. Tell me, how do you, on a day that is just hard? I mean, like today's a Monday that we're recording this episode. How do you keep yourself centered? Do you have a hobby? Do you have something that it keeps you grounded? It gives you that kind of joy that you can keep going even when things around you can be kind of crazy. And we've certainly lived through a crazy year in 2020.
I have so many hobbies, you wouldn't even believe it. If you're thinking about distracting yourself and not stress so much, I don't think I can run out of ideas doing the things that I want to do. But I think in the pandemic, I do notice that with Zoom, people don't leave their house. They could go on business meeting, and then sometimes they trade war stories with me. This is my 12 Zoom meetings. I've been 12 hours straight. I've been having a lot of engaging meetings. But then I think we do, especially we're small business professional, we need to take care of ourselves, our well-being. I'm all about fitness. So what I do is I have a stand-up desk. So every once in a while, I could rotate from sitting to standing. I think that helps a lot. If you think and complain about sitting all day, definitely look into a stand-up desk. That could change, the whole thing that, your back pain, your neck pain, and to move around. And as you mentioned before in the intro, I'm a kettlebell instructor. So every hour or so, especially in the afternoon, I will go out and do 5 to 10 minutes of fitness. It could be a kettlebell swing. It could be I do some push-ups, pull-ups, try to get active. So imagine you've been sitting and idle for a while. So you're feeling down, you're feeling tired. But by just going out, even if you go walk around in the backyard or do some light stretches, it actually help you think better. If you're stuck or if you're getting really angry sometimes, with your phone call, take a 5-minute break. Do something that you really enjoy, something that maybe totally not related to your business. And you have to know how to unwind yourself. The business is still going to be here, but then if you don't take care of yourself, then the problem that you face for your well-being will be a little bit more difficult than to catch up the 5-10 minutes of work that you might have to put up to enjoy life a little bit.
Now, I love this. It's funny because just earlier this morning, I was about to start my day and I was just thinking like, I'm feeling so unfocused, so unmotivated and foggy in so many ways. And that's usually not like me. I'm the kind of person that hits the ground running from the moment that she wakes up. And like you said, I do not run out of ideas to things to do. There's always something to do. There's always something to work on. There's always a project. And I was just, why am I feeling this way? And then I realized that it's been a few days since I hit the gym and I already had all these meetings planned for the first part of the day. And I'm like, what am I going to do? It's like, here's the difference. Getting into a meeting with like a really depressive mood or trying to reschedule the meeting, especially if it's not super important, trying to shovel things around a little bit, go and get an hour at the gym, come back, and then you see how your mindset changes. Came back from the gym happy. I was like, oh my gosh, I needed this so much. I needed those endorphins to get me going because in the morning I was just like, oh my gosh. So I love that. I should make use of my kettlebells, put them under my desk and start like doing all the some moves. Do you have some video instructions that you use because you're an instructor? Do you have a channel on YouTube where I can go and get some tips and like, what am I going to do with all these kettlebells, that I have?
But I think, if you kettlebell swing well, I would just say every hour, do 10 swings. That's it. So take a break, right? Go out or wherever is safe to swing your kettlebell, do 10 swings. And then your heart rate will go up and then walk around until you're feeling calm again. Then go back to what you were doing. That's it. That's really easy. That's anyone can do. A lot of people, especially if they haven't been active for a while, will try to hit the gym, right? Really hard. And then either they get injured or they get burned out. It's too difficult. It's not for me.
Yeah.
But then if you do something small that really easy to do for you every day, then you'll be motivated. 10 swings is not difficult. Every hour you do 10 swings. That's it.
Well, if you guys are wondering how did we get from promotional materials and nonprofits to swings, you need to go back to the beginning of the episode because Swire is a certified instructor kettlebell. So I'm just trying to steal some ideas, like what can I do with my kettlebells? Well, it was super awesome to have you on the show today. I'm so glad that we got a chance to talk. And as far as people getting in touch with you, if they wanted to order some swag, how do they get a hold of you?
People can find me on LinkedIn. Just look for me, Swire, hold the name on the bottom of the screen, or visit our website at garudapromo.com. And I love networking, love learning about what others are up to, and then always happy to talk about promotional product, especially if you want to talk about kettlebell.
Absolutely. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope that we get to talk about those kettlebells instructional videos soon because I could certainly take some lessons.
Thank you for having me on your show, Anka.
This is it for today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed and I hope that you listened. If you found today's information helpful, please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite listening platform and also stay up to date with all of our future podcast episodes. Feel free to screenshot the podcast, share it on social media, tag us. Oh, by the way, we do have a brand new Instagram account that, I'm trying to grow. It's Events Demystified Podcast. It's on Instagram. That's the only place that we're on right now. I would appreciate if you showed us some love, followed us, and spread the word to get the podcast in front of more listeners just like you. And I really do enjoy, getting feedback from you and emails. So keep that coming. You can do that by, again, going on social media, direct message me, and also use the email podcast@3funevents.com. Have a fabulous rest of your day. Until next time.